how to stop draft around your frame, window or door in 3 easy steps. It won't be the seals of the frame itself, it's actually the outside of the frame. When they put the frame in, they leave gaps around the outside. When the weather outside is like this and it's snowing and it's cold, you're going to lose all that lovely heat in the house through the frame. It costs about £6 or £7 for each of these bottles, and they don't want to spend the money. You've got a double glazed panel, but you've got gaps around the outside which are covered by plasterboard and a little bit of filler, and that doesn't really work well. So I'm going to go through and clean this up. I'm going to show you it step by step. I'm going to show you the cleaning process, what I'm using to fill it, and the third, how to finish it off. If you're a DIY person, you can still do this. If you don't have much expertise, you can show this video to like a handyman and say this is the idea, and they should be able to do this for you. So the main thing here is double glazed window hasn't been fitted correctly. I feel like they've left gaps around the outside. You can see the moss growth on here, so it's releasing all the heat from the house. We're getting noise from the outside, which you shouldn't get because it's a double glazed window. So it's very hard to reach this from outside the building. So I'm going to do it from inside. I'm going to be using some basic tools. I'm going to explain the process. So these are the tools I'm using. You don't have to use these, but I'll put links in the description. Or you can go to your local hardware shop and pick these up. I'm going to be using a drill. I'm going to be using some filler. This is a Gorilla filler, the original 151. Seals and fills. There's different types of fillers. Some expand very intensively, some don't. This is suitable for filling and sealing gaps and cavities. You'll see it's around frames and around pipe holes. I've got a scraper, I've got a hammer and a chisel and some cleaning tools and 2 drill bits. And then I've got a drill bit the same size as the nozzle. I'm going to show you this in steps. And also remember, a drill, you don't have to have a drill. If you have a screwdriver, you can use to make holes, which we're going to do. And this is spaces behind the frame. And then we're going to use a bit of extra tools, which you may not need. So there's nothing fancy here. If you don't have a drill, you can even use a screwdriver if it's not a solid wall, which it shouldn't be. You'll hear, see the noise? There's gaps behind there. And we want to fill the gaps. Really, they should have sealed in the frame before they finished it off, which I don't think they did. And also you'll see the telltale sign is there's like a lot of growth, moss growth. So I'm going to clean that up and put some fresh sealant around the frame as well. Once that works, I'm going to do it in the remaining house because I feel like the double glazing hasn't been fitted to a high standard. They left gaps around the outside, which defeats the object of double glazing. So we're going to make some mess before we clean it up. Let's get rid of this filler first. Put some gloves on. While you're working, just observe what's going on. So you'll notice here, see the old silicone filler? That wasn't very good because behind it, it was actually growing mold as well. So we definitely know this is a point of escape of heat and a cold point of the house. So you see all of that's come off relatively easily. I've just gone around the frame. You can hear the traffic a lot more now because of these gaps. So I've gone through and cleaned off the old silicone, removed the sealant. So you'll see here, the majority of the silicone has been removed. Let's just clean that out here. Move on to the next task. So next we're going to drill holes every couple of inches. Okay, that was hollow behind the... See, there was hollow. How you can tell is, watch the drill bit. See that? There's hollow space behind. Hollow behind. Hollow. Hollow. That was not hollow, but there was. So you'll notice that was the first step. I've gone through and drilled out multiple holes. Some went nowhere. That one has gone back. That one's gone back. That one's gone back. Back. So we have about that much space behind the plasterboard, which means there's no insulation there at all. So I've gone through step 1. Continue all the way around. One, 2, 3, 4, Okay, so now we're at the point where we're going to use the expanding foam. I've got one can here specifically to do one window. You shake it, spin that on top, and you can hold it upside down and basically just shush it. So if I push that in here, there's one. Once you've done it, just let it sit, let it expand, let it do its thing. There's some key places where it was very gappy and other places it wasn't. So now we're covering all of those with insulation layers. 24 hours later, it's all dried. I've scraped away the excess. I'm going to show you that last final step now. Jointing, filling and finishing compound, screw fix stuff, just the no nonsense. It's basically like filler. Use an empty container and a scraper. I'm going to mix that together and start filling these holes that I made, and that'll be the final step. And obviously decorating at the end of that, which is just painting it. That's a lot less headache than having to rip out all of this and insulating the back. I can tell a big difference already in terms of the sound and wind, so there's no leaks. So let's do this final step now. I use 2 scrapers now. Don't notice what I'm doing here, but I'm filling in the really big holes in multiple directions. This way, that way, this way, pull down, pull up, and also at the same time, if there's any big gaps there, I just want to get a little bit of filler in there, so the sealant has somewhere clean. What I will do, see, I've put the corner in there, and I'm pulling down, just filling into the gaps. So then there's still a couple of millimeters there for the sealant to adhere to. If you're doing it yourself and you're not sure about the consistency of the filler, if you're mixing it especially, because I like mixing it myself because you can make it thick. Watch this. You want it so that it stays on the roof ceiling. So you'll see here, watch this. See, it's kind of like, it's thick and creamy. Almost like if you think about the cheese that you get, like the spreadable cheese. Because now if I put this on the ceiling, it won't drop. It's not runny. It's very thick. So that's the consistency. And you can see it, I filled the gaps there. So the holes are full now. And the reason I'm using this instead of silicone is, as in I'm not going to paint today. So I just want to cover the holes so that it doesn't look as jarring with like other stuff. Because technically, this foam stuff I bought can be cut, sewn, painted and sanded. So you can do that, but it's a slight yellow color and it doesn't look as nice if you notice there, and I've not done anything to it. So I could have just used that as the sanded it and painted it, but I'm using the jointing combined filler because it's white, so it's not as noticeable there. You can kind of see there. But once the paint's on there, that'll be totally hidden. I'm happy with how that turned out. Right now you can still see a few dots here. Remember, I'm going to be doing some decorating in the bathroom. That's going to be a separate video. If you're following along, you'll see I've got a full series of this house that I'm doing out, and I've done a lot of work in the garden and the garage and all sorts of stuff. In that journey, this is going to be redecorated because I'm going to paint it and do a little coat of sealant around the edges, but already I can tell a big difference. We've got a temperature difference. I had a little thermometer at the start, which I put in here, and so we're not losing that air, it's staying here for a little bit longer. And we've got good insulation, because remember this foam stuff that I've been using, it's not sponsored, it's just that's what I found and I used it. Screwfix do a version of this, and it acts like an insulation as well. So overall that did well. Those little gaps have been filled. I've gone through in the steps and shown you how to do all of that. If you have any questions, drop them in the comments. It'd be interesting to see your perspective on this. But so far, based on my scenario, it's worked. I'm going to do another update a little bit later just to let you know if that issue about the damp, like the little moss growth, comes back or not. It shouldn't do, because now we've stopped the heat escape and there's no cold point. Overall, it worked out nicely. Little bit finishing touch needs been doing to complete it, but I'll see you in the next video. Yeah.